$180. This is dangerously close to getting an optical switch keyboard. Can this keyboard compete with the lights of the K70 and the Black Widow Elite? I'm ROG, and welcome to the channel. I really like the design of this keyboard because it's somewhat simplistic. It's basically a rectangle instead of something that has fangs or different kind of angles. In terms of features, I think this keyboard can definitely hold its own against the lights of the K70 and the Black Widow Elite. With the volume scroll wheel, the dedicated media keys, I think this keyboard is the bridge between floating key design and the enclosed design. I like how they have other functions on the side of the keycaps instead of being on top where it's join with the regular characters. It makes the keyboard not seem as busy. The font is more on the professional side, which is nice. I like the font because this is the bridge between the bold gamery font from the K70 and the much more professional looking font from the Razer. I still cannot get over the fact that Razer keyboards have more professional font than Corsair. Whatever happened to the old days? The acrylic slate on the corner is a nice addition to the keyboard, and you get a blank one to customize. I like this extra touch, but it's a non-essential to the keyboard. And then you got side lights, which is really cool, also non-essential. For the price of $180, these little extra add-ons somewhat matter. In terms of this hyper-competitive mechanical keyboard market, you gotta do something to stay in the game. Overall, I think they did a pretty decent job with the front-end design. Since they priced this keyboard high, they decided to go with the MX RGB Blue switch, which is good because it's a well-known brand for reliability and consistency. The MX RGB Blue has a pretty rocky start in the beginning with the K70, but after some time I think it's pretty solid now that more and more keyboards have them. It's a nice thing about this particular keyboard is that you can have the mainstream MX switches: red, blue, brown, silver, pink, and black. I haven't typed or used a black switch for so long. I really want to get my hands on one just to see how it feels like again. The LEDs on the PCB, which is nice because it eliminates potential points of error. They did a really good job of the switch as well. This keyboard rocks the cherry stabilizers, which is awesome because it means I don't have to deal with those metal wires and those pesky little plastic pieces when taking out the longer keycaps. Personally, I have a gripe with the Co-Star stabilizers, but I know that there are people that would actually prefer Co-Star over cherry. So to each its own. If it were up to me, I would say cherry stabilizer all them keyboards. The wrist rest is made of hard plastic. It's not magnetic. Instead, there are these little points that sort of sticks to the keyboard, but a simple lift and the wrist rest is out. I have to say, the wrist rest is one of the most disappointing aspects about this keyboard. They really cheap out on this wrist rest, and they're brave enough to charge us $180 for this keyboard. On the bright side, at least it's easy to throw it away, and because keeping it is such an eyesore. This keyboard uses the typical thin ABS caps, which does the job, but at the price point of $180, I would say the consumer deserves better. But most people seem to be okay with this keycap, so I don't think it's going to change. Or they might pull a Corsair and charge a higher premium for high quality keycaps, even though the stock keyboard is already over $150. Whichever the case, if I still make keyboard videos, then I'm going to keep on complaining about the fact that ABS caps on keyboards that are more than $150. During my unboxing of this keyboard, I thought it's really strange how they designed the flip-up feet, but when I place the keyboard on the desk, it makes a lot of sense. If those bumpers weren't there, then there would be an unbalanced position where the top of the keyboard would sink and the bottom would rise up. Because of the flip-up feet, there are some pretty cool designs, and the RGB logo, which is nice touch. There's a USB pass-through, which is awesome because I use the USB pass-through a lot. The cable is thick and braided, and the tip is gold, which is also a very nice touch. Another disappointment is the software. I think they can fix this though. The keyboard does not have layers of lighting effects, at least not to my knowledge when I was exploring the software. Besides this, as the usual essential, such as you can macro every single keys, there's lots of lighting effects since there's lack of layering of lighting effects. I really think this is a missed opportunity, but it's something that I think they can fix with a software patch down the line if this keyboard have enough people buying it. I really want them to put this feature into the software because it means it's another competitor for Corsair, which will only benefit us in the long run. This keyboard isn't love at first type, but it's also not a bad typing experience either. The MX RGB Blue is rough at the beginning, but after a month or so of using it, I think it should be iced out. I noticed this with my K70. After a while of using the keyboard, I find the switches to be much softer and easier to press. At this very state, I would say this keyboard is average for typing. Later on in life, I would say this keyboard is a very pleasant typing experience. Anyways, here's a typing sample. So I dodged this question long enough. Here's my answer. I don't think this keyboard can compete with the likes of Corsair and Razer. At least not yet. This keyboard is priced higher than those keyboards, and with those extra features, it does help, but the lack of layering of lighting effects really hurt the keyboard. And let's not forget that wrist rest. That's a POS wrist rest. At this stage of the game, I like the MX RGB Blue. I really like the design. I hate that wrist rest, and I think this keyboard should undercut those two to remain competitive in the market. At $180, way too much money for this kind of keyboard. At $130, like the Thermaltake cousin, I think this keyboard is a sweet spot because since you're paying less than the two giants, it's fair to say that you could lose out on certain features. The way to fix this keyboard and to remain competitive is that they should either lower down the price and patch the software. If they want to keep the price the same, then I think they should switch to optical switches, because for some reason I think optical switches are more expensive than mechanical. Comment down below if you guys disagree. Also, they need to work on that wrist rest. I would say scrap the wrist rest and throw in PBT keycaps. This would make this keyboard compete against the Corsair SE. So would you buy this keyboard? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to buy this keyboard and support me, I'll provide a link to buy the keyboard down below. It is an affiliate link. I do make a small commission. It really does help me make more of these awesome videos for you guys to check out. So if you made it this far into the video and you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button below. Don't forget to ring that bell to become part of the mighty notification squad. As always, you guys stay awesome.